Hello and welcome to week 10 of Chillax Blood Bowl League. I'm joined with my co-host Uber. Uber, how you doing?
Not too bad. Better than you, because I'm a grown-up who can drink properly, and
No.
you're some sort of teenage girl.
Yeah. Oh, I wish. No. Right. So
Right,
what?
you wish you were a teenage girl. Oh, well, this is an unusual turn. I didn't expect some sort of weird trans coming out party for you. I'm sure if we did a GoFundMe, we could arrange that. Let's face it, you've already got the tits of a teenage girl.
No, they're too hairy. They're way too hairy.
You're not from King's Lynn. That's standard for teenage girls. Not that I would know. Not that I would know, of course, because that would be fucking wrong.
Is that a fucking police car I can see you just pulling up outside your house?
Damn those Operation U-Tree motherfuckers. They were always going to get me in the end.
Fucking hell. Right, so this has started off pretty dark.
Yeah.
Right, let's have a look
Pick,
at the results, shall
pick,
we?
pick the right league for starters.
Oh, I'm looking at my teams.
Yeah,
Okay.
honestly.
Should we have a look at the open ladder first? I don't think much has happened in it, but we'll have a quick look.
I have created a team and joined. That's about it
Oh shit!
from my point of view.
There's been some movement.
There's been some movement, look.
Okay.
Some sort of...
And bearing in mind,
you know,
it's the 14th today, is it? Yeah. So there's
yeah,
still about 3 weeks. So we're gonna run this until Wednesday the first. Well, the cutoff will be like Wednesday the 1st, for the little championship thing. So there's more people active in it now, which is good because if I looked a couple of weeks ago, it was just two names in there. It was pretty much just me and Crespo. Vake's had quite a lot of games in there. Lee Bat started playing Grid. Big Floor, Magic obviously just spamming out tier 1 shit because he's got a small dick. Wow, sorry, I don't know where that came from.
I don't know.
And then, yeah. Okay, cool. So it's getting active. I'll offer you a game this week then. Not today. I'm going to sleep for the rest of the day. But yeah, let's get people active in this. Again, top 4, we'll do like a mini CCL playoffs and we'll do like some kind of like championship badge in the Discord or some bullshit like that. Cool. Right, so let's look on the actual season stuff. It's results we look at first, isn't it? So
Yes, dear.
let's have a look at those. I'm going to pop the scores back up. So it was 14-17, I believe, how we left it last week.
That's correct. Yeah.
Corn Bay Brawlers versus the 8 Point Giants. So this is me versus Clockworks Halflings. I did everything I could to avoid this game because I knew that it was going to be shit. Halflings.
Well,
sorry.
Well, I was going to say, I recall last week you were just gonna see if you could farm some SPP. Did it not happen?
No. So what happened was he took 50% of my rerolls in the first half. Bear in mind I have 2 to start with. My first roll of the dice was a instant turnover, so I had to reroll it immediately. So I basically played the first half with no rerolls. So yeah, failed the block instantly, had to re-roll it for a push, covered the ball, because I was having to be really careful about, right, what do I actually go for here, if I've got no re-rolls. Went for a pickup, failed that, and I was like, I'm in fucking trouble here, because then he based me up, basically, just caught all the corners, so I couldn't hit anyone free, started moving the trees in a little bit, and I was like, I'm in real fucking trouble here. He went for a pickup, 4 up, failed it, re-rolled, dodged out, and that's where he fucked up, because when he dodged out, he double failed that, ball bounced free, and the next turn I was able to pick it up and sort of make my way up the field. There were a lot of removals in the first half, none of them were done by me, but they weren't on my team. So they were all like self-removals. I think I managed to send the bull into a tree at one point with Claw Might. I got a KO there, which I was pretty happy with, actually. I ended up getting some SPP on the ball, but yeah, 1-0 half time. He nearly got a 1-turn, but the scatter, he went backwards instead of forwards. So otherwise, I think he would have been able to make it. So I got pretty lucky there. And then in the second half, I just couldn't roll a POW. So in the entire game, I rolled 6 POWs in 16 turns, and I rolled 30 skulls and both downs. So the ratio of me getting knockdowns and stuff was fairly poor, to the point where I was taking the both downs in the hope that I would get a removal. So I end up getting a 1-1 draw. It's actually way more than I expected. I thought I would lose. And I think we both thought I would lose.
We both did. Yeah, we both did, in fairness. He's good with stunties, it has to be said.
Yeah, that's one thing that was really clear. He's very, very good at positioning with stunting teams. And also, in the second half, I got 0 rerolls because he stole both of them as well. So it's one of those things. Chaos with no skills and no rerolls is, you're just really at the mercy of the dice. It wasn't a dice in by any stretch of the imagination, but I couldn't put up a defense in the second half. It just wasn't possible.
Draws a solid result, I think. I say, the only downside will be if you've not been able to get a load of SPP to start leveling up.
So I got
because your goal was always to try and look to level up for the rest of the season. So you've clearly sucked some dick there then.
Yeah, so I got 2 SPP on the bull. MVP went to a loner, obviously, because why not?
Yeah.
Had my winnings not gone as well, I would have hired that loner. But I rolled a 6, and obviously with the with the draw as well, I got an extra 10k. So I thought I was going to end that game, like, highest I could get was 90k, which I can't do anything with. So I might have been tempted to pick up a 5 SP beast. However, that took me to 100k, and that's a warrior, and that's my 4th warrior, and that's my team build.
Which is what you wanted.
Yeah, so it was actually, like, in terms of like SPP, it was poor, because I got a touchdown as well. So I got 5 SPP from the game, even if I lost the MVP. But the big thing is I got the warrior a week ahead of schedule, so I'm pretty happy with that.
No, it's not too bad then. No points for either of us, because we both thought the Flings would win.
Yeah, and great game, Clockwork. That was, while it was frustrating, it was very fun as well. So thank you for the game. Tin Town Rats versus the Deadskins. Ooh, 1-1 here. I don't know if anyone predicted this, but I'm quite shocked.
We didn't predict a 1-1. I predicted a 2-2 though, so I'll take a point.
Bastard.
But yeah, that's well, I predicted a draw because I'm some sort of genius, obviously. But yeah, I mean, Lee's got a solid team, and the Rats are dead speedy, so it was always going to be about whether Lee could at least try and contain them.
Yeah, I think I was watching on the Discord for a bit, and I really thought that Lee was going to be able to 2-1 it, which I think is what I predicted.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, there was a couple of turns where it looked like that might be on, but then I had to leave, and I'm pretty sure you bribed him to take the draw, so I know how it works.
Need to bribe people. Genius isn't paid for, it's just inherent.
Nice, but good result there. A bit shocking. I think Grid's had a fantastic start to the season, but he's stalled out a little bit. And I don't know if it's because other teams are catching up skills-wise. Maybe it's making it a little bit harder for him. I'm not sure. But he's got an easy game next week.
Yeah, I'm not sure whether if there's sufficient tackle that's being picked up to try and contain those gutters or not, or whether it's just been a bit of a run of dice, because that can happen as well. Just over 2 or 3 games, just some unfortunate dice can really hamper. But a draw is a draw, so it's not awful.
Better than a kick in the dick. Okay, so
which we'll get to later.
The Stonehorn Striders versus the Zombies. So this is Battlehawk versus Show Me Magic's Necro. I believe, I could be wrong, I believe I predicted 2-0 to the Necro because I was frantically messaging him, telling him not to score the third.
Oh, I see. So it's like, that's how it's going on. Okay. Yeah, you did predict 2-0 to the Necro, so you pick up a point for that one. I thought the Ogres might squeak it just because of the size and value of their team, but clearly I was wrong.
Yeah, I think if you're going for a punt, right, if you're looking for an upset, because you're a little bit comfortable points wise, if you'd got that would have been great. And I think Ogres into anything, they can just have those games where they just crush everything.
Yeah.
High Times in P-Town versus Sirius United. So this is Jazz's Woodies and Sirius's Necro. 1-1 draw there. How did we go on the predictions?
No, we both fancy the Necros for that one, so no points for either of us.
Yeah, no, good result there. Onion Flaps versus the Skanks and Saw Ass. That's the Ogres from Big Floor Pie and Crespo's Lizards. Again, I think he's only dropped one game this season.
Yeah, he's definitely stringing together quite a strong season. I'm starting to regret not picking him for top 6. But, you know, he's a bit of a dick, so I chose not to. You thought that would go to the Ogres, so you get no points. I, however, predicted a 1-1 draw, so I get 2 points.
Shit, this is looking a bit desperate now. So going into the last 2 games, you've got a 5-point lead. I feel like Lewis Hamilton at the moment. Let's see if I can fiddle with the results a little bit. So we've got the Congenital Hogwarts versus Deaton's Norse. That's a 2-0 win for the Norse. Pretty big there.
That is a big win. I'd say that's probably stronger than I would have expected. Well, both of us expected. You had it down as a 1-1 draw. I thought the Warts might just squeeze it 2-1. But Deaton's done really well, bringing those Norse back.
Yeah.
We'll look at the teams in a bit because I've got those next week. So it's an interesting one going into next week.
They're both fucking solid coaches. So I was shocked to see the 2-0 there. But yeah, well played to both guys. And then finally, I'm just gonna tee this off to you. Tell us what happened.
Well, we both predicted that I would win, so nobody gets any points. And fuck Skinks. That is all.
I'd like you to elaborate a little bit more because he had one skink that I put 6 fucking dice on and couldn't roll a knockdown.
Yeah. All right. You want a slightly broader answer? Fuck all motherfucking skinks. I could not, for the life of me, be able to get a knockdown. It came down to that, really. I couldn't quite get the skinks knocked down, which meant he was always going to be more mobile than me. Centre of the pitch stuff with the Crocs and the Soras, it was, you know, it went either way. There was a bit of argy-bargy and a bit of both. And on my pickup, fucking Edge 3 pickup with a re-roll, still can't fucking pick the ball up. So, you know, I desperately need a fucking edge boost on one of my throw rars or something just to be able to pick the ball up because sure hands just isn't doing it for me. And that's consistently letting me down, which is becoming a bit frustrating. Because obviously there's no re-roll opportunity. You've got your built-in re-roll, so it just fucks it. So it's getting me into the habit of trying to pick up the ball last and trying to think of both. If I pick the ball up, where do I want to kind of build a cage? But if I fluff the ball, how do I defend the ball being deep in my own area, in my half? So you're kind of caught between one or the other, and I didn't do either particularly well. And those skinks just came through and were able to pick up and dodge and do bullshit skink things. They were well greased up. I mean, he had properly lubed them up because I could not get a grip on them. Played really well, and it was a real nip and tuck game. I did take a casualty. I think that I had to piss some money away on replacing, which was a bit disappointing as well. I think it's probably the first time regens really failed me this season. So it wasn't ideal, and I was hoping to at least squeeze the draw, but fuck that shit.
Yeah, I mean,
honestly, not bitter. Obviously, I'm not fucking bitter. Skink bastards all must die. I was even fucking fouling them and I couldn't break armor. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, sometimes you just have those, don't you?
And the other thing is learning the salient lesson that I must not take a star player with a special weapon because he will not fucking do anything and will immediately be sent off or injured. So stop wasting 150k on a star player. Take a fucking wizard instead.
You need to read the rules for Max Spleen Ripper, the new release, because they are fucking tasty. They are fucking tasty. Once per game, he can double chainsaw in a turn. So that could be like you
Nice.
chainsaw 2 people at the front of a cage, you chainsaw someone
Yeah.
down, you foul them when they're on the floor. It's really powerful. But obviously you've always got that 1 in 6 of it just going shit, but
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
just don't roll bad. Before we move on to results and stuff, with Mr. Ben, this is one of the really nice things about running leagues that I think there's good points and there's bad points about running leagues, and obviously the bad points are pretty obvious to see, but one of my favourite parts is seeing players develop. So the first one I really noticed this with is Leo Loca, who plays in Death on the Pitch and stuff. Because when I first bumped into him, wasn't the greatest coach in the world. No disrespect or anything like that, but he was new to the game. Didn't really play online and basically just played AI and stuff like that. And now when you play Leo, he's a fucking solid coach, and it really comes down to small decisions to beat him.
Yeah, definitely. I've played him a few times, and he is definitely solid. He's I don't know what I certainly think he's beaten me more than I've beaten him. Yeah, definitely. Just evidence of good, as you say, good decision making, not making kind of short-sighted decisions or knee-jerk decisions. There's some real good planning that you can see in the style of play.
Yeah. Another one is Battlehawk. Battlehawk's improved massively since I first bumped into him in the CCL. But for me, improved player, we'll do an end of season rewards. But right now, for me, Mr. Ben's probably the most improved player. Because it was a match that you could go in confident that you could win. Again, it's really hard not to be come across as disrespectful when you say this, but in terms of coaching experience, he just didn't have a lot of it, and he didn't know some of the lessons. When I went into the game that I had with him a couple of weeks ago, I was expecting that same guy I played 6 months ago or something like that. Completely different player now. The knock on him, it was never his positioning or anything like that. It was always his turn order. He would always use the Crocs first every single turn. And 2 or 3 times a game, he would just completely lose a turn instantly, which would just allow you to just overrun him. And he seems to have sorted that issue out now.
His positioning was really, really good. His turn order was really good. I think there was one point he made a move that I thought, I wouldn't have done it in that order. And as it turns out, he was absolutely right and I was wrong. And he did it really well. I can't remember what it was, but I do remember sitting back in my chair thinking, shit, he's done that really well.
Yeah.
Very, very good.
The thing about turn order, right? You learn the basics, and the actual real skill is knowing when to ignore the basics and go, right, I actually have to do the risky shit here first. But yeah, no, I just wanted to mention that because I think Ben had a really rough start to the season, and it's easy to look at his record and be like, he's not a very good coach. But I was absolutely blown away when I played him. I couldn't understand how I was in so much trouble. And you immediately think, right, well, it's probably the dice that are really impacting this. But I actually went back and watched the game a couple of days later once the blood pressure is lowered and stuff like that. And literally, his positioning was just spot on all game.
Yeah.
The reason I was having to make loads of crazy dice is because all my key players were locked in somewhere and I just couldn't free them up. So, no, I just wanted to give Ben a shout out. Those really improved. So let's go to the leaderboard next.
Yeah.
Coffee's kicking in now, so I'm feeling a bit more human. So, again, we'll cover it off just in case people have forgot how this works. Top 2 go straight through into the semi-finals. 3 to 6, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, 3 to 6 do your quarters into a semi.
Semi
at the end of the season. So let's have a look where everyone is. So obviously at the top now, still undefeated. Now Magic gets really upset, right? And I got a really emotional message from him a couple of weeks ago when he'd had a beer that he really wants us to stop bullying him. So let me hide that score from here. That's not too flattering. Let's hide that 15 to 20 there. That's gone. Right. So Magic, if you're looking for a pat on the back and for someone to tell you how well you've done, I think we can all agree that you've done really well, Magic. So, good boy.
You've been a big, brave soldier. Well done.
We're all really proud of you, and you're really good. There we go.
You're the best tier 1 team player in this league.
Yeah, and that really means a lot.
I mean that from the heart of my bottom.
So well done. And some people will call you a tryhard. Not us. We wouldn't do
No,
that.
not me.
No,
No.
no.
Necromantic players, they're always up against it.
Mm,
It's really tough for them with the limited skills and opportunities that their positionals offer them.
mm.
So, to take a team like that and be able to string together, those kind of wins, against other teams that are perhaps not as good.
I mean, they
It's
can't. They can't
really
even buy
good
an
effort.
apothecary, can they? They can't even have a
No,
medic.
yeah,
I don't know
you
how he
know,
fucking does it. So if I was
I'm
wearing a
amazed.
hat, I'd be taking it off right now.
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
you are fucking incredible, Magic. So well done.
you're the best.
Yeah,
You're just like a comfortable set of anal beads. You're just brilliant.
yeah, well done, Magic. This is all for you. It's all for
Yeah,
you.
man.
So good.
I
Um,
think we're done.
Next up, we've got Vake in second. Looking, I keep saying there's loads of time left, but now we're going into week 10. Is it week 10?
Yeah,
Yeah, so
yeah,
there's not much time left. There's like 4 games tops, three,
yeah.
4 games. It might even be 3. It might even be 3 games left, guys. We'll see in a second. So, the people in first and second are probably secure for playoffs. You could argue Vake might
So
not be, but I think
I think Fake probably is
yeah.
because if you look at the spread of wins from 3 down to 9, you've got all of those teams kind of on either 4 wins, or you've got Sirius in there with 3 wins, but a lot of draws.
Yeah,
So I think the top 2, barring
crazy results.
incredibly crazy, incredibly bad results, I think the top 2 are pretty much locked in.
Yeah.
It's a fucking free for all from there on.
Well, I don't. 100% Magic can't be caught because even
Yeah,
if Crespo wins all his games, he's still got a worse record.
yeah.
So Magic is through because he's such a brave boy.
Well
Um,
done, Magic.
well
You're the
done,
best.
Magic. So good.
I wish I was like you.
Yeah, I wish I could pick tier 1 teams. So yeah, Crespo in at third. Again, he's the sort of sleeper of the season for me because we say Mr. Ben probably getting most improved, but you've got to argue that Crespo, who didn't play Blood Bowl in January,
Yeah.
in fact, it might have even been later than that he started playing Blood Bowl. It might have been around March
Yeah.
time. He's not been playing long, and he's barely dropped a game. So
No,
good
it's
that,
just a shame he's such a douche as a person, is all.
yeah, small dick.
Yeah.
Big Floor Pie somehow is still in fucking playoffs. Can someone get that fucking Ogres team out of our playoffs, please? Because
Yeah, what the fuck?
that'll be embarrassing if he gets through on fucking Ogres. Because I don't know what challenge to set him next season if he wins with Ogres. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, that was supposed to keep him out of the runnings, and he's just ended
Yeah.
up with a fairly decent record there.
Yeah. There's some big dick energy there with those ogres.
Yeah. Gridbug, 414 in at fifth. I think he's gonna pick up a win next week, mainly because he's playing me. But his position, him and Crazy again, him Crazy and Jazz, shit, they're all actually joint fifth.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there could be a lot of movement there. Sirius has put it together as well. I don't know if I called Sirius to be in the top. I think I did.
One moment, I have this to hand. You did. You had him coming in at 6th.
Yeah, so I think there is a good opportunity there. Mr.
I just
Ben.
want to point out, look how fucking organised I am.
Yeah,
Immediately was able to do that.
Mr. Ben, did not see him getting away from 13th position, to be honest. And he's...
And actually, his team, I mean, bearing in mind the first half, after the first 2 or 3 games, his team was gutted and it's now back. I mean, it's not obviously a 13, 1400 TV team that other people have got, but it's back to being a solid team now. So he may squeak in possibly because he's got a reasonable run coming in. But actually now going into next season, if he wants to carry that team over, he's in a pretty good place, I'd say.
Yeah.
He's still got those couple of Saurus and stuff like that, which we have our weekly debate over whether he bins or doesn't. But he's back from running basically what was an 800, I think, at one point TV Lizard team.
Yeah. It was
Back
that
to
way.
something competitive again.
Yeah. No, absolutely. He's done a fantastic job. Lee Bat. So I'll be honest, like, Lee's a good coach, so I'm really shocked to see him this far down.
He's a good coach, and actually his team is fucking solid as well. I know he's had a little bit at the mercy of Nuffle from a dice point of view, but I would have expected him to be higher at this point.
Yeah.
Again, he suffers in the fact, I think, he's paying the douche penalty because he's a bit of a twat. So perhaps that's what's dragging him down.
And then you've got in 11.
He's going to fucking punch me now. When I next see him, he's going to punch me. Damn it.
You've got the Corn Bay Brawlers. I'm up to 890 TV now. Woo!
Yeah. So that's a team that's definitely playing the douche fucking penalty.
Still higher than yours though.
Yes, I know. Yeah, no. I don't know. I just haven't been able to string results together. The outturn hasn't been reflective of the team being as solid as it is, to the point I've been talking about, I'm building for next season. There's part of me now in my head is thinking I'm going to fucking respin with Chorfs because they're my darlings. Do I respin with Chorfs at the end of the season?
That might not be a bad shout, to be honest, mate. It depends, right? I always think it goes down to the enjoyment factor. If you're not enjoying the team, then play something else.
It's not that I don't enjoy them, and when we look at the teams, they're not in a bad place, but there's just the frustration of not being able to pick the ball up. But then, arguably, you go to Chorfs and you're in a similar position anyway. You're reliant on your goblins your hobgoblins to pick it up, and it's not a fucking guarantee. But I don't know. I'll have a think about it as I go into the end of the season.
I think Chorfs are more fun. I think you get a bit more stability. You don't have to deal with Decay. To be fair, Decay's not hurt you yet. That I know of. But we'll see. Clockwork. Cannot stress how good this guy is at stunty teams. Like I was really blown away in our game. It was he deserved the win. Like he should have taken that really 2-1. But I just looked out. And then Battlehawk 117 again, using those powerful shoulders of his to hold up the rest of the league.
Look, it's a 1500 TV ogre team. He's pretty much maxed out. And he's a really good coach, so I'm surprised that he's holding up the bottom there, to be honest.
Yeah, I think, with the remaining weeks, there's a potentially overtakes us at least, but we'll see.
Yeah, I would have thought so.
Okay. Schedule, should we, I'll confirm the round?
Do it.
Okay, so first game, we've got the Tin Town Rats versus the Corn Bay Brawlers. So let's look at the Tin Town Rats first of all, shall we? Now, this team has taken a bit of a pounding.
It has,
To be honest, I think that has almost made the game playable for me next week. Because if we go back 2 or 3 weeks, this team's a lot bigger. I think they've lost some decent runners. This guy's out. Roger's at the bottom.
Gone?
No, Roger's at the bottom, but it will be gone because I'm going to Claw Mighty Blow it turn 1. This guy not being in, block, tackle, Mighty Blow, that's pretty big because I think he would have caused some damage, to be honest. He would have been fairly difficult to deal with. This guy's going to be hard to deal with. Blodge, sidestep. I just have no way of dealing with him.
There's no Rat Ogre.
There is.
Oh, it's right at the bottom. Yeah, sorry. I was looking at the bottom of the list, not the bottom.
Sorry. Yeah. He's got break tackle now, which is pretty good. I need to look for the right opportunity to put a hit in on him. This thrower looking nice. I might have him as like sort of a secondary target when I'm on my offensive drive. So if I see this guy sort of on his own somewhere, I might go after him. And
definitely it gives a double threat there because obviously the running game with the gutters is really strong, but actually an accurate, safe thrower. It makes it a lot harder to defend against.
Yeah, and also he's much easier to knock over than the gutters. There is the argument, right? While he does have some skilled up gutters, there is the argument if I can get the ball into a nice cage, he's going to really struggle to find an opportunity to get in, even with skill advantage. There is the argument that could take place. He will.
Yeah, I mean, your only option, particularly with a storm vermin down, is to exocet the Roger in and hope it just knocks a hole in the cage. And
Yeah.
but then throwing him into a cage with frenzy, you run the risk of that sort of frenzy trap of going from a 2 block to down to a 1 or even a 2 uphill block, depending on how you're positioned and the strength of your pieces.
Yeah, and also the way I use my Minotaur, I kind of use him as a sweeper. I don't really have him out front, so if you go in with your Rat Ogre, it's not coming out because I'll set up a 2 dice or a 3 dice if I can, probably just a 2 dice, but I'll separate him from the team and then I can look to take him out because it's the piece that's really going to damage my team.
That's your threat piece, yeah.
Yeah, because again, the result's not that important to me. The SPP is nice, but this might be a nice game for me because there's just tons of AV7 and it's not a lot of it isn't protected by blodge. So these line rats, for example, the thrower, I can throw blocks with my warriors and I might actually start getting some SPP.
Well, even the horns on your beastmen are going to make things potentially against the gutters because it's +1 strength on the blitz, isn't it, for horns?
Yeah, that'd be 4. It has to be more than double, doesn't it? So I'd have to do a blitz and an assist, but that's not out of the realms of possibility to 3 dice.
Nah.
It looks fearsome, doesn't it? Should we just look at that? We don't need to look at the other page, do we? 2 rerolls, Apothecary, obviously we've had that since game 1. In some ways, I'm lucky that I've got no fan factor bloat. But we're back to 990 now.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because I bought that warrior. I'll be picking up 2 beastmen, so that's
2
120.
journeys.
So that will take me to 110.
1110. Yeah, 1110.
I think he's 1190.
So there ain't a lot in it.
So
your babe, maybe.
Yeah, I'll get a babe. So it's actually a lot more even, but I don't have any skills. That's fucking crazy. Apart from this. Yeah. And this could be the difference. I mean, the thing is, even though he's got blodge, if you put 6 dice in on a strength 2 piece, there is a good chance you knock it over, and it's not even that bad to take the both down. Claw's not going to be that useful, but I can target the Storm Vermin and the Claw will kick in there. I can target the Rat Ogre and the Claw will kick in there as well. So I've got +2 on the armor or +1 and then +1 on the injury if I need it. Frenzy as well. So if I don't get the knockdown immediately and just get pushes, there's the potential that I follow up and do that. I still, to the fucking life of me, do not understand why these are AV8. Of all the things that they could have rebalanced...
Because he's wearing fucking hot pants, that's why.
Look at him, though.
But he's in hot pants.
Animal, and you're telling me that he's the same toughness as an elf.
Fair point.
I think size should count for something, because trolls don't wear a lot of armor. Trolls don't wear a lot of armor.
All right, incel. About the size.
But yeah, so it's weird development. I finally got a little bit of SPP on other players. Yeah. So a touchdown and a throw on this guy. So if I somehow level him, I'll be grabbing sure hands, I think. If I get lucky and level this guy, I'll be putting Mighty Blow on him straight away. So what I'm going to try and do is like killer, ball carrier, support, and then I'll do killer support, and try and do it, like balance it a little bit. I might just have 2 killers. I'm not going to count the Mino as a killer because I don't think you can reliably count on it. But
I suppose if you're lucky on the line, you might pick up a couple of SPP with your warriors if they manage to hurt a rat. Oh, it's an interesting one. It's an interesting face-off, I think.
With the strength advantage that I'm going to have on that line, it makes me more comfortable putting the Minotaur on the line.
Yeah.
And hitting with him. I'd have to be careful where I leave him, because obviously I don't want him to be countercharged by the Rat Ogre. But in some games I'm having to use blitzes every time to activate him, where in this one I can kind of run him in with a bit of support, and I can be fairly comfortable he's going to be stood on his feet at the end of the turn. So they've either got to dodge away or I get the free block. So I can use him a little bit differently than I have been over the past couple of weeks. But I
Mm.
think overall,
I think the toss is going to be really important in this game. The toss could really could shape how the game plays out, because if you win the toss and can get some early injuries on his, or some early knockdowns, I think then you definitely will have the upper hand for a lot of the game. Counter to that, if he wins the toss and can get around and outmaneuver you early doors, I think then you're going to struggle, because there's a chance he could potentially be 1-2-1 up at half time.
yeah, that's. I need to accept, right? He's going to score. Like, he is going
Yeah.
to score
Oh yeah.
at least 2 touchdowns in the game. The question is, can I score
Mm-hmm.
more than 2? And I don't think I can. In fact, I think I'm going to struggle to score 1 unless the game's really one-sided.
Yeah.
So I'm actually going to call this as a 2-0 to the Skaven.
I'm slightly more generous. I think you'll score, but I think he'll score 3 times. So I'm going 3-1 to the Rats.
Yeah, I don't think that's crazy. So next up, we've got the 8-point Giants versus the Stonehorn Striders. This is going to be a fucking tasty
David and
game.
Goliath.
This is going to be tasty because there's so much SPP, and also bear in mind this is at the 8-point Giants home stadium with Knuffles Alter. So he's going to get
cheap star players.
Yeah, so I think the TV difference is going to be so 1,500, and he's at 830.
Shit.
So yeah, this is Morg. This is
You've got to see Morg. Morg, Chef, maybe Carla. Deep.
It's going to be close.
Makes them what, 50k cheaper, the star players Knuffles Alter.
Yeah, let me just have a quick check on Fumble and see how much the stars cost.
I don't think you'll get Morg and Deep Root, because Morg is just so fucking expensive still in Blood Bowl 2.
Yeah, I like the new costume, to be honest. I think people get so annoyed. They're like, the stars are too cheap. It's like, no, they are reasonably priced now. They were ridiculous to the point they weren't usable. So,
yeah, well, you never saw Morg because it was just too expensive.
Okay, so let's get the calculator out. So Morg is 430 minus 50, and Deep Root is 300 minus 50. That brings you to 630. And then the chef on top is 100k, and I think you have to take.
Oh, you might just, you've definitely got to take the chef. Oh, you might just squeak it. What's he got in the bank? I think that will be the bit that will see if that's viable or not.
40k.
He might just be able to squeak that in then.
Yeah, and that would be fucking horrific. Should we let's look at the Giants first. We'll look at the Giants first. Yeah.
Again, there's not much to say about them really. It's a halfling team. They're starting to accumulate some SPP, but there aren't any level ups yet. But you would imagine after this game, you would expect to see some.
Yeah,
you've got a few there.
What he could also do is he could give himself an extra 30k in inducements by trimming off the cheerleaders and the coaching assistants.
Yeah,
which might help go for that, because I think if there's a game that he can really target for a solid win, this might be it. I also want to point out Clockwork hasn't lost yet since joining the league.
Yeah.
Which is really impressive. So the Striders, let's have a look at these guys. 210k in the bank. So, so if it might not be that one-sided then inducements-wise if he spends what he needs to spend. He needs to TV trim that because he's got 60k over there. Which he's just given away. If you're him, you just grab another couple of nobblers. I mean, it doesn't hurt, does it? Is that a niggle or is it just? Oh, it's minus edge, which is pretty bad on a nobbler, to be honest with you. So I don't think I'd keep a minus edge diving tackle nobbler. I would sack him. So I think what Battlehawk should do is he should strip this guy out. And then he should literally just buy 3 Noblars and have a full set team. Because he's not going to be buying stars because he's so much higher in TV than everyone else.
Yeah.
he's never going to be having the opportunity to hire a star player. So I think he should just fill up, go for the foul heavy, because he's got DP on there as well, hasn't he? Yeah. His ogres, oh my god, look at this. Block piling on, nasty. We've got piling on break tackle here. I'm tempted to do like a website like we did for Death on the Pitch, and focus it around like the cool historic players and stuff that we've had. I'll pitch it to the league, because I'd also have to ask Mr. Ben if he'd host it for me again. But it's not a huge amount of work. Diving tackle leader here. I mean, it's a nice team. I'll be a gentleman here. I'm going to let you make a prediction first, because obviously you know the team's better.
2-2.
2-2.
Yep.
Okay. I'm going to say 1-0 to the 8-point Giants. Yeah.
Cool.
So 1-0 to the 8 points. Right, next up we've got the Deadskins versus High Times. This is a really important game for both of them, because you've got to say if either of them get less than a draw, it's really going to hurt their playoff chances. And you've got to say for Lee, it's probably a must-win. Lee's at 1,500. First of all, is he enjoying his undead? That's the main thing, right? Is he enjoying playing with them, or is he a bit like, ugh?
I think he's a little bit ambivalent about them, because he had talked about after the game where he took some hits about he wished he'd respun them. So I don't think he's having a massively good time with them. But I don't know. I think that's probably governed by the fact there have been some games that on paper he should have won that he hasn't, and that frustration can kind of temper your enthusiasm for a team a little bit. I mean, it's a great team. I mean, it's solid as hell.
Yeah, he
but again,
must have been unlucky.
Yeah, I think there's definitely been some unlucky dice. Not that they've been dicing, but there have been some unlucky dice at key points for him. And again, to be honest, Lee's a good coach and the team is solid, but that sum of the parts hasn't turned necessarily into results that you would have expected.
Yeah. I mean, that Edgefull goal still being alive is a fucking war crime in my book, but
absolutely, and it makes him smile that how we keep talking about the Edgefull goal, because according to him, it really hasn't fucking done anything. So
it's not the fact, Lee. It's not the fact that it hasn't done anything. This is a crime against God, or Nuffle, should I say, and it needs to be put down. So I don't care if it gets killed in the season, but if you're re-rolling this team, I want to see that piece get fired, just so we know it's dead. Like, it has to be just gone from the server.
But yeah, really solid team. There's not much that you would. They're skilled up, they're leveled up. He's got some good stuff. He's got some guard in there. He's got some
tackle on the mummy.
Break tackle on the mummy now. So it's really got some good options in there. And again, I just think it's the results just haven't gone according to the strength of the team or the coach with this one.
Yeah, has he considered playing Necro?
I think we've had he's been playing for a long time, so he's played most of all of the teams. So I don't know what his position will be, whether he'll respin or not at the end of the season. I would wager he probably will, because actually the team is really fucking fat on a TV point of view now as well. So he may well do, but what he would then play, I honestly don't know.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. Okay, and sorry, he's playing Jazz, isn't he? So let's have a look. Still got that fucking tree. Tree.
With tackle, which is...
War Dancer's looking good. He's got grab on the tree.
Yeah.
It's pretty interesting. I like the models for these. And in fairness, the tree was actually really impactful in the last couple of
Yeah.
games, but it just had a really slow start to the season.
Yeah, and grab's really interesting because it completely changes the dynamic of that centre area or the line of scrimmage. Because actually, you look to box people in, or you look to box the tree in, but actually now he's deciding where you're going to go.
Also, if you fail your sort of take route, you can power people next to you still, so
Yeah,
they can't actually get away from you unless they do the dodge. So there's quite
yeah,
nice there as well. I think he's got a lineman with minus strength and one with minus armor. I think you just sack those. To be honest
yeah.
with you, I think you sack both of them. It's pretty.
I mean, you look at
bashed
it.
up.
What we've got. It's a bashed up team. He's going to have a lot of journeymen in there. So, and he's only got the 2 re-rolls.
Yeah, I think this is the problem with Woodies, isn't it? Great,
Yeah,
great when in very short leagues, but the longer it goes, I'm shocked really that he's only got one really good dancer, and the other one is just how many games has this
yeah,
played? Only 2. Fair
yeah,
play. That's probably it then.
yeah.
So he must be a new purchase. Did you have a dancer die then? I can't remember. Maybe he just had
I
one.
don't
He might
know.
have just had one.
Yeah, I think he did just have one for a long while. I
Yeah,
mean, if
I
you look
remember,
at it on
I remember
the
stepping on
strength,
this one.
yeah, the strength of the teams on paper, you've got a fancy lead for this one.
Yeah.
Is it my turn to go first or yours? Your turn to go first.
Yeah. I'll let you go. I'll let you go, mate. It's all right.
All right, and I think 3-1 to Lee.
Okay. I'm gonna
I
say
just think he's going to brutalise that team. I think.
2-0 to Lee. Next up, we've got the Zombies versus the Onion Flaps. So let's take a look at the Zombies first. So these are 1450 Necro. There's 3 level ups here though. So there's a level up on the block tackle wolf, level up on the block wolf, and a level up on a normal white, which you've got to assume he's going to pick up some guard at some point, right? I think you
Strip ball. That's what you want in there. I love a bit of strip ball.
Yeah, but I think you probably put that on the wolf here. Really, I think if you're going to go for a player like that, I don't. He's got like a strength advantage here against some teams, but next season, let's say you take Chorves or something like that, and you can start to really pick some of these players apart. I think a lack of guard will hurt him. So I'd be very shocked if Magic doesn't take guard on this white. I think he's going to be praying for Mighty Blow, and if he doesn't get it, what do they get? Do they get agility? Yeah, I think he goes Blodge on this. Unless he gets a double, and then obviously he goes Mighty Blow. And again, same here. I think on this he might go Strip Ball, or he might go Dodge again. That's that. But
I mean, it's a solid Necro team. He's not suffered badly, or not that I'm aware of, suffered too badly with casualties, and hasn't had a game where he's had to, in effect, rebuild the team again. So
he's just kind of steamrolled through, and that's it. Like you've got multiple people taking regen teams. Some of them just could not have their regen fire off, and then others they've had it fail once all season. It's just look at the dice.
Yeah, I mean, I've been lucky with regen, to be honest. I think it's maybe 2 occasions in the season I've not had regen work. So
I had 8 regen rolls, and 2 of them were successful, and the rest failed.
Yeah, but you're a dick, so it doesn't really matter.
That's true. So and he was against Onion Flap. So this is an ogre team. On the next page. You've got to think this is just a hard win for the Necro.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to say 2-0 to the Necro. No offense, Big Floor, but yeah, I especially if the Wolf gets Claw. Yeah, sorry, Mighty Blow. Like Claw, Mighty Blow, Frenzy. He's just going to rip through those. He's got so much block and block tackle that these Noblars are just going to disappear really quickly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ogres. Obviously isn't as good as 6 ogres. It's not bad.
No. I mean, it has the potential again to be a real SPP fest for him on top of what I think should be I'm going for a 3-0 win.
Okay.
I just think he's going to harvest SPP out of those Noblars. I wouldn't be surprised to see another 2 level ups at the end of the game.
Yeah, I don't think that's crazy. So we've got Sirius United now versus the Congenital Hogwarts. So let's look at Sirius.
See, I think this is the game of the week. I think this is going to be a really interesting one.
Yeah, because they're both coaches that like really YOLO it. Like they're both like tabletop style players. They're not like, oh, if I do this, there's a 4.8% chance that doesn't. Yeah, fuck that. That's boring. Yeah, these are both like tabletop players, so they just go for what they feel is right, and that's way more entertaining. So you got 2 Blodge Wolves, really nice, going to be really hard to deal with.
Yeah.
Mighty Blow on the Flesh Golem there. I like that because you're going to, it speaks for itself. He's on 12 SPP now.
Yeah.
No level ups on the whites. That's really surprising. A couple of block zombies. That's always the way, but those are just MVPs.
Yeah.
Does this have 2 MVPs? Yeah.
Yeah.
It fucking always is, isn't it?
But you chuck those in and your flesh golems on your line, and you've got fuck, that's a solid line of scrimmage, isn't it?
Yeah. 2 ghouls now. So he took one. He's like, oh, I like this. I like being able to pick up the ball.
5 SPPs picked up on that first ghoul.
Yeah, that's got to be an MVP, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's nice. So 2 of them. I've seen people running 3 ghouls, and it actually looks fairly interesting. Because you are very quick, actually, for an undead team. So yeah, I like the fact that he's experimenting this. This is obviously new for Sirius because he normally doesn't pick up these and he keeps it as kind of a bash team. But he's sort of skirting the line between.
Well, I think the bash element. I think the bash element is really, and arguably, he's played it nicely that he's leveled up the bash element of his team and has then put in this other threat axis with the fast moving ghouls.
Yeah.
That potentially now they could potentially level up pretty quickly. MVPs notwithstanding, but just by a couple of touchdowns here and there.
Yeah.
And then you've got potentially a couple of blodging ghouls, which are a real fucking handful.
Yeah.
To try and contain when you're also then looking at is blodging wolves, and even the whites, even though they haven't leveled up, they're solid.
Yeah, they're just
AD8 blocking pieces. They're just great pieces. So I think this team has really come together in the last sort of 3 weeks.
Yeah. There's 4 subs as well. I would say if I was Sirius, he's got 150k in the bank. I'd probably grab a 3rd reroll.
Definitely.
I really would, because he's going max, right? So it's not like he's doing a min-max team where he's got 11 players and it's really like trim. At this point, if you've got 4 zombie subs, like you go in max, so take that 3rd reroll and greed something. The way that he plays, he burns through his rerolls quickly anyway. So I think that 3rd one's going to help him. Let's have a look where crazy is. So he's already given up a couple of 100 SPP anyway. He's already given up a wizard, so you might as well grab the extra reroll. Interesting. Wow, this team is banged up.
Yeah.
Not a lot of cash either, so he's kind of stuck with it. Edge fucking 5. Fuck off. I swear, I think I've got to play these guys in a couple of weeks. But Edge 5 is just, oh my god.
That's filth.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. I mean, he's got a couple of nice blitzes. This guy's smashed up a little bit.
I mean, in fairness, that witch has been sucking Nuffle's cock, because I'm fairly sure when I played Crazy, I tried to foul it 3 times and I could not get anything better than a stun.
Yeah. Are we saying that this player gets fired?
Yeah, absolutely.
Crazy. I personally think, right, this match is going to come down to, does he snake a 2-up?
Yeah.
I'm going to double down on Sirius here because I've picked him to get to top 6. So I'm going to say 1-0 win for Sirius. I'm going to say 1-0.
I'm going 2-1 to Sirius. I think now he's got those ghouls. Again, it's another one where the toss could be important because, you've got a lot of casualties. So you've got to have a lot of journeyman lino in that Delph team.
Yeah.
A good couple of first turns, if you can get them on their asses with those wolves and ghouls, he could just box the team in. It's all about whether you can get the witch elf on its ass and then jump up and down on it. Sirius has got bench, and 4. If he goes with the re-roll.
Yeah, you've got to think, and also as well, it's wrestle, so it will hit the ground more than a block piece will, and I think that's all he needs.
Yeah.
Just get it on the floor once, and then just
get it on the floor, just gang fuck it. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So what was your prediction there?
2-1 to Sirius.
Okay, yeah, nice. I think that's probably right. So next up we've got the Skanks and Soras versus yet to be defined. So the Lizard off.
It's a Lizard off. Yes.
The Lizard off. Let's look at Mr. Ben's first because I've been interested to track his progress. Still got this. He's got 60k in the bank, so he could buy another skink here, but I think he's probably saving another 20 because he can finally get rid of this Saurus. Yeah. So I think after this game, he fires this guy, rehires this.
Yeah, I mean, the interesting thing is that Strength 3 Saurus is now on 5 SPP, and if he levels up, that does potentially then change the dynamic of it's a definite firing. If he levels up and gets block, then it changes that thought process again. And I know that I've been the one who's been kind of like he's next to the guard Crocs. So, he's not being penalised. If all of a sudden he gets block on it, then it's not quite as easy a decision of whether you bin him off or not.
I disagree there because I think on paper when you look at it and you're like, well, he's next to the guard piece, he's okay. And that's 100% what I thought until I played him. And that was such a strength point of weakness for him. That strength.
Whereas for me, it just didn't make any difference. I just couldn't make it.
It's the angle you go in at him.
Yeah, I mean, I spat on the end of it and I tried to push it in, and it just made no difference.
Maybe he was positioning him differently, but in mine, that guy was so you'd have the Saurus here, you'd have this guy here. So all I had to do was just come in from that side, and it was just 2 dice all fucking day. So yeah, I personally think minus strength on a piece that is built around being strong, you've just got to get rid of it.
Yeah.
And it might be painful, but you got to do it. Finally, back up to 11 players as well. Worth noting.
Yep.
I think this is going to be his first game since week 1 where he's actually not got a loner, so that'll be pretty interesting. And he's going to gain Crespo, so there is going to be just under 300k. This is looking nice.
Yeah.
Block Mighty Blow block, Mighty Blow.
Yeah.
Yeah, this could be painful actually. So even with the inducements, I'd still rather have block Mighty Blow players than
hell yeah.
A Babe or something like that. He's got development on his skinks as well. Personally, think he should probably get rid of this guy because again, it's a piece that's built around being fast.
Yeah.
And he's got.
Crespo's definitely got the stronger team. I think even with the nearly 300k in inducements, I mean, you take a Wizard and maybe Hemlock, something like that. Can't remember how much Hemlock is, but he's a really good star player piece for Lizards.
I think he's fairly cheap, isn't he? Like 90k. Like that.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, because basically he's just a skink with stab. But
that might be handy in this one actually.
Yeah. Oh, I love Hemlock. I think he's a great piece. It's a shame he disappeared in the newer edition. But you're hard pushed a bit against Crespo on this one, I think.
Yeah. I'm gonna say 2-0 Crespo. I think he does some real damage on this. I think as well, Mr. Ben's team might take a bit of a pounding because there's something about Saurus. They just take so much fucking damage. They take so much damage.
I'm going 2-1 Crespo. I think Mr. Ben, how he uses his skinks might just see him score early, particularly if he can win the toss and get that in before he takes too much damage.
Barney, chill out, mate. Yeah, good boy. Sorry, it gets a bit vocal. Right, so final one of the week then. So you've got D10 versus yourself. So do you want to take us through? You want to take us through your team?
Yeah, sure. It's okay. Hasn't really progressed much in the last couple of weeks. Not really managed to get skill ups. My MVP, I think, went onto a dead Skelly last round, so I didn't really get the benefit from it. It's okay. The Mighty Blow on the two Tomb Guardians is handy. The Blitzer, I've become a big fan of Strip Ball. It won me a game on playing on Death on the Pitch this week with my Tryhard Necro team. It was one of those plays that you would hate me for, where I had a white with Strip Ball that had in the snow, had to go for it twice through two dodges, and then managed to strip the ball off of a ghoul on the line. And it went out and bounced all the way up into his half, and I was able to run it in for a touchdown. So it was proper bullshit.
Filth.
But strip ball, I'm a big fan of. So that Blitzer is an important sweeper piece for me. I've got my throw rail with block back. So although he's AV7 rather than 8, it gives me a de facto third Blitzer. It's okay, but there's nothing. There's no. It's difficult when you can't pick the fucking ball up for love nor money, and that edge the edge 2 on the throw ras, even with sure hands, is just a fucking pain in the ass.
Yeah, definitely. You're almost like praying. I never think you should pray for a stat up, because I think they're just so rare.
Yeah.
But I think they really need a plus agility.
Yeah.
I understand, right, the play style of it, but oh god, I've had whole games where I've not picked the ball up with them before.
Yeah. And it's certainly, that's been one of the key things that's punished me in the last couple of games, is just that 2 turns worth of failing to pick the ball up. And as I said before, what you kind of want to do is be able to pick the ball up, decide where you're going with the ball carrier, and build a cage, or knowing that you're not going to pick the ball up and build a decent defense around the fact that the ball's on the floor. And it's just so fucking random that you kind of get stuck between one or the other. And against a fast moving team, it just fucks you. So that I have felt a bit of frustration with them, and that probably will see why they'll get re-rolled for Chorfs at the end of the season, despite the fact actually for a Kemry team they're relatively solid.
Yeah, everything on them's good really, apart from their record. Right, so we've got D10.
Fuck it. Oh, fuck off. Just fuck off.
I'm really disappointed in D10 for not taking Mighty Blow, because Claw Mighty Blow on the Yeti is kind of what you build the Yeti for. But he's taken... is that... What? Yeah, sorry, that's Wild Animals. Yeah, he's taken Guard. Yeah. So there's some utility there, and I guess if you've got Frenzy, Guard's quite useful.
Yeah.
He's got his Berserker, Block Mighty Blow. He's picked up a new one, because obviously he lost one in that Ogre game.
Yeah.
I didn't think it had any skill ups. Looking good. To be honest, I can't see anything. The Guard here is nice. Movement up is good here as well. It's not like I'm not looking at it going, oh wow, this is the best Norse team I've ever seen, but it's also it's just a good solid Norse team. He's got Blodge on his runner and a level up actually, so God knows what he's going to get there. If he gets movement up, I've got in the ladder, I've got a movement 8 Norse runner, and it's ridiculous. Like I don't use quick teams a lot. So being able to be like 2 or 3 squares into the half and then be like, actually, I'm just going to score this turn is crazy.
Yeah. Well, it's a strength 3 blodging gutter runner.
Yeah, it's great. It's really, really great. I'll let you make the prediction. What are you going to go for?
I think I will probably lose 2-0.
I think you're going to lose. But I don't think it's going to be 2-0, because even though he's got a good team, you've got a huge strength advantage. So I think it's going to be hard for him to get the ball off you unless you position badly. Like you say, that what you were saying before, like when you're going for your pickup, have you covered the ball properly? And I think you need to prioritize that over picking up and caging it halfway down, because in reality, I think if you fail a pickup, you lose 2-0 if you've not protected. But I think you'll protect. I don't know if you'll score, but I think he will score. So I'm gonna say 1-0 to the Norse.
Cool. Cool.
I think. Let's have a look. How many games have we got left?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4. There's 4 games left. Okay, so there's not 3 games left. There's 4 games left. So there is still quite a bit of movement. Technically, Magic could be caught if he drops all 4 of his games.
But there's that 6 or 7 teams in the middle there that still have it all to play for. Not being funny, if you or me strung 4 wins together, we could be in competition for the sort of 5th or 6th spot. I can't see it.
Yeah.
But I mean, it is still. I would suggest there's probably at least still 8 or 9 teams that are in the running to make playoffs out of a league of 14, which
it's quite good.
Which is not bad going.
Yeah, I think my final run-ins, I've got Rats, I've got Dark Elves, which are pretty banged up actually, although I don't fancy running into the All That Mighty Blow in the X5. Yeah, I've got you, and then I've got Deaton. So for me, it's actually a pretty rough end of the season. There is
What's mine like?
There is a potential, because you've got quite a lot of AV7, haven't you? There is a potential I could get some SPP. So you've got Norse.
Norse.
You've got Wood Elves.
Wood Elves.
You've got me.
Yeah.
And then you've got Lizards. So
I think I'm struggling to get 2 out of 4 wins there, to be honest.
I think you're going to get 1 out of 4. I think
probably 1 out of 4.
I think you'll beat me.
I'm not sure on that. I think I might be able to squeeze a win against the Wood Elves depending on how they recover, because they're a little bit beaten up at the moment. That's the game I'd probably target, depending on how his team recovers. I'm going to struggle against you because I won't have the strength advantage against you.
You'll still have somewhat of a strength advantage, but the problem is I could throw 4 blocks on your mummies.
Team Guardians are all on the floor.
Yeah, well, not only that, it's Claw Mighty, so the chance of them getting through is that is actually probably a pretty scary game for you, even though like my team's not got a lot. What it does have is a almost like a counter to you, but you'd have to position fairly badly for me to get those hits. And that's one thing Clockwork did so well. He had 1 turn where he positioned a tree badly, and I removed it. The rest of the time, I could not make the idea in my head that it was a valuable blitz, because I was just going to end up getting locked in. And I did actually end up on the floor once in the middle of all these flings, and I was like, is he going to foul me? He fouled me. He definitely fouled me.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Cool.
No,
so still very much all to play for though for a lot of teams. If you look, I would suggest all the way down to Lee. So top 10. As I say, I think the top 2 are probably nailed on, with perhaps Deaton being in the balance a little bit, but all the way down to Lee, I think. You could sneak in. I think you've got probably a better chance of sneaking in than me.
It's actually crazy that the top 12 actually could all still qualify. You could say that, like, mathematically, Clockwork could, but I don't think it works out that way because of how the other teams have to perform. But there's a reality. Yeah. So if I beat Gridbug, I beat Crazy. They're both teams ahead of me. Who's the other one? Deaton, who's ahead of me, but I won't pass him. And then who was the final one? It was you. So you're the only person that I've got to play where it's not like double value, you know what I mean? So if I beat him, I'm not just getting a win for myself, I'm stopping him from progressing.
Taking a win from him, absolutely.
So, I'm getting a bit excited here, but in reality, it's not going to happen, but it could. I could end up 6. I actually don't think that would be good for my team. I don't think going into playoffs, what I want to do, really, is not make playoffs and then get 2 preseason games either against fresh teams or against
Yeah.
teams that have been banged up and are at the bottom of the league table. That would be my preference. But obviously, if you make playoffs, you can't really turn it down, can you?
No, absolutely.
Okay, lovely.
No, it's going to be interesting.
That's all from me then. Uber, any messages to anyone before we go?
Fuck skinks.
And brilliant. Thank you again for being super flexible with this, and really enjoyed doing the show with you. And Magic again, just wanted to say well done. We're all just completely blown away by what an incredible coach and person you are. So just thank you.
Yeah, I mean, that's it. It's not just the coach you are; it's the person you are, and it's what you bring to humanity in general. I think we're all grateful for you. God bless you.
Yeah, God bless you. Have a good week, everyone, and I'll speak to you all soon. See ya.